Hi, it's Teresa from Dodge Nature Center, and time for another Nature to Go. Ping pong balls, jelly beans, teardrops, Tic Tacs. What do they have in common? Well, they're actually all shapes of bird eggs. Now, when most of us hear the word egg, we think of chicken eggs. They're kind of pointy on one end and round on the other end. But take a look at wild bird eggs, and you'll find ones that are almost perfectly round, or are long and rounded on both ends, or very pointy on one end while wider and rounder on the other. Why? Why should birds have such differently shaped eggs? Now, different colors make sense because of where the birds have their nests. But shape? Why should the shape be different for different kinds of birds? This isn't a new question. People have wondered about this for a long time. One of their ideas for why eggs were different shapes was that birds that need to lay a lot of eggs per clutch would have eggs that are more pointy on one end so that you could fit more into the nest. But that wasn't proven to be true. And so another idea was maybe that eggs that are laid in more treacherous settings, like on a cliff ledge, needed to look more like what our chicken eggs look like because they tend not to roll continually. They kind of roll in a circle, and so they'd be less likely to roll off the cliff. But not all cliff-dwelling bird eggs are shaped that way, and, well, chickens don't live on cliffs, and the shape of their eggs haven't changed since we domesticated them. So what else could be affecting the shape of the eggs? In 2017, a group of scientists analyzed 50,000 eggs from 1,400 different bird species. They grouped the eggs by the kind of birds they came from. They measured the sizes of the eggs and how much they differed from being perfectly spherical. They compared the eggs to how the birds lived. And what they realized is that egg shape was connected to wing length, which is related to bird flight. Egg shape is a feature of how much flying the bird regularly does. The scientists noticed that even when the birds were from different species, even when they were different sized birds, if they were both long-distance flyers, then their eggs would be similarly shaped. Here are hummingbird and albatross eggs. They're kind of alike. Most of the birds that migrate and fly a lot tend to have eggs that are more elliptical and asymmetrical. These migrating birds have bodies that are more streamlined, which means their internal organs have to fit in a long, thin area. And so having eggs that are long and thin best fit this shape of a body. For birds that are less active, like owls, their bodies are chunkier, their pelvises are wider, and their wings are short and broader. And the eggs for these birds are mostly round, kind of ping pong ball shaped. The research that uncovered this information did find some bird species with egg shapes that didn't quite make sense given the amount of flying the birds did. But we now have a much clearer idea of what is going on in all of those bird nests that are being filled this time of year. So the length of the egg relates to the size of the bird, while the shape relates to the flying habits of the birds. Bird eggs, an excellent topic to investigate this week. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Nature to Go, and we'll talk to you again next time.